Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from SimpleProgrammer.com. So, I haven't done a fitness-related question on this channel in a while, so I thought I'd answer one, pulled one off of my Trello board about doing a 30-day water fast. So before I get into this, if you don't know about me, I do what I call OMAD, or 1 meal a day. I basically fast until 5 o'clock every single day. I've been doing this for about 3 years. That is how I achieve such phenomenal results with my physique, and I'm able to gain muscle and lose fat at the same time. There's a couple of other things I do also with that. I will eventually be putting out my diet and fitness program, but I am a big proponent of fasting, and not just doing intermittent fasting like most people do, but doing longer term fasts. In fact, right now, as I'm recording this video, I have not eaten since 2 days ago. Basically, today is Friday, and I ate my last meal on Wednesday, so I fasted all day Thursday. I'll be fasting all day today until I go hit the gym and work out. So it'll be a little bit, almost a 3-day fast, and I believe that is quite beneficial for you. So with that said, though, I'm going to answer this question about a 30-day water fast. So this is from Richie, and Richie says, I'm wondering, what is your opinion on doing a 30-day water fast? I would really like to do it to sort of reset my bad habits and to have a really nice launch into losing weight. I've been dieting on and off for the past year, and I'm having issues sticking with it. I feel like if I had momentum, I could keep it going. I can maintain my weight much easier than I can lose it gradually over time. That's weird because most people can't maintain their weight. Most people can either gain weight or lose weight, but maintaining is difficult. But let's see what else he says. He says, as for my stats, I'm 24% body fat and about 30 pounds overweight. I do weekly exercise 3 times a week, but as I said before, I've had trouble sticking with my diet, which is 1 large ketogenic meal a day. I get up around 4:30 a.m. to work on my business before work and eat about 1,500 calories worth of nuts, eggs, and cheese before I start my day. On good days, I don't eat the rest of the day, but on others, I binge. I hope at the end of this fast that I would be able to stick to my diet much better because I reset my habits and wouldn't want to lose the progress I've made. So here's the thing. This is what I'm going to say about this, okay? And I said this before at the beginning of this video, that I'm a big proponent of fasting, obviously, but I think a 30-day water fast in this particular case is sort of a cop-out way of dealing with not being able to stick to your diet and maintain discipline, right? So if you fast for 30 days, I mean, there's a whole bunch of complications involved in fasting for 30 days. First of all, you're going to have to reintroduce food slowly. You're going to lose a lot of muscle after that amount of time. It's going to be really difficult to do. You're not going to be able to really do much physical exercise, right? I mean, the max that I've really fasted for is like 4 or 5 days max, and you really feel it at the end of that time. So I do, like this weekend, I'll probably fast from like Saturday, Sunday, and eat Monday, so that'll be basically like a 4-day fast, and or 3 full days, 3.5 days, essentially 4 days, and that's pretty much the max that I do. You don't really have any complications with reintroducing solid food. If you do a longer fast, sometimes you're going to have those complications where you're going to have to you're going to have to look at how to break the fast, right? You're going to have to look at that, but I'm not an expert on this, so I'm not going to talk about this. Not to say that a week fast or something like that can't be beneficial, but you got to really think about why you're doing what you're doing. And if you're doing something sort of as a shortcut to avoid discipline, it's not going to cure the discipline problem, right? So I would consider this to be a crutch, right? I mean, it's going to be difficult for you to do a 30-day fast, a water fast, but the reason why you're doing it is to avoid the difficulty of sticking to a diet and sticking to a plan. So here's what I would say, without going too much into why I think the fasting is a bad idea, but again, like I said, this is something that you're trying to circumvent, the right way of doing things, right? So let's talk about, here's what I'd recommend in this case, okay? So it's great that you're waking up early in the morning and you're doing the 1 meal a day. I totally agree with that. But as far as the binge eating and like sticking to the ketogenic diet, I think ketogenic diet makes a lot of sense. My program is a modification of the ketogenic diet where I'm doing ketogenically. I'm eating very low carb, but I'm eating carbohydrates on lifting days right after lifting, right? That's going to be the most effective thing. But here's the thing, is eating one meal a day and doing it in the morning is really, really hard. It's much more difficult to do. I would suggest that instead of doing that, you shift it to an evening meal. That's what I do. That's why I fast until 5 o'clock. It's much more bearable, right? You have a lot less hunger in the morning, and you can make it longer throughout the day fasting, right? Rather than if you eat in the morning, you've got to go through the whole day. And dinner is a hard meal to skip because dinner is usually the most social meal. So a lot of times if you try to fast and what you try to do is like eat one meal or eat your meal in the beginning of the day or even at lunchtime, you're going to want to go out with friends, you're going to have dinner plans, you're going to eat with different people at dinner time. It's going to be really, really difficult. It's easier to skip breakfast, it's easier to skip lunch, especially if you're working, right? It's much, much more difficult to skip dinner. The other thing I'd say about this is that, you've got to have a plan, a solid plan. When you tell me, like, especially, and it depends, right? If you have discipline problems, right, in life in general, okay? What you need to do is come up with a solid plan in order to solve that, right? So what I mean in this case is that if you're saying that you're eating some eggs and a handful of nuts and some cheese, that's not a very disciplined plan, right? You need to count your calories and figure out exactly how many nuts, how much eggs you're going to eat, how much cheese you're going to eat, and when you're going to eat that at the exact time, right? And plan that out. And it doesn't mean that you have to stick to this forever, right? You can eventually go by feel, but if you want to make progress, if you're having problems with discipline, right, and you feel like you're backtracking, this is the way forward, right? I do this myself at times, right? I normally eat a lot by feel, but I go on to a disciplined plan when I'm not making progress, and when I do, I make progress again. So this is just one of those things that if you're lacking discipline in your life, one of the ways to create that discipline is to go ahead and create a plan exactly, if you're lacking discipline in getting work done and working on stuff that you're trying to do, then what you need to do is you need to figure out, okay, what is my exact plan? How many hours am I going to work? What time am I going to work? What am I going to focus on? And create that schedule and that routine and that actual plan, and that's going to help you to develop the discipline that you need in order to stick with things, especially in terms of workouts. If you're trying to run, if you're trying to lift weights, right? A lot of people go to the gym and they quote lift weights, and they don't even know what time of the day that they're going, what days of the week. They're just going to lift weights, most of the time or occasionally, right? And then when they get to the gym, they don't know what exercises they're going to do. They're not tracking their exercises. They don't have a plan for what they're going to do, and so they just kind of play around in the gym and lift some weights, and that's not consistent. It doesn't produce the right result. It's very hard to be disciplined, and I'll tell you why. The reason why that this is so true is primarily because when you're feeling good and you're feeling motivated, it's easy to do this stuff. It's easy to go to the gym. It's easy to stick to the diet, right? It's easy to not eat too much. But on the days when you don't feel motivated, this is where the planning and the discipline comes in. The days when you don't feel motivated, the days when you feel like giving up, when you don't feel like going to the gym, if you have a plan and you're supposed to go at 3 o'clock to the gym to lift weights, and you know what exercises you're supposed to do, you can force yourself to do it step by step because you know what the plan is, right? So many times this has saved me because I know that I have to run 10 miles. So what do? I don't make a decision. I just run the 10 miles. I know I have to go to the gym, and I know exactly what exercises I have to do in what order, so I just do those things. I know what my meal is going to be, right? And so I don't have to question it. I don't have to make a judgment call. I just open up my Tupperware container and eat what's in there, right? That's the best way. That works very effectively because at the times when I'm not feeling motivated and when you're not feeling disciplined, then you don't have to make decisions, right? Because if you make judgment calls, if you live your life making judgment calls, you are going to fail. We all have weak willpowers. We all screw up that way and mess up our discipline. So again, as far as the 30-day water fast, I think it's a way to get around developing the discipline. Develop the discipline instead. I like the idea of resetting the habits. I like the idea of getting momentum, but do that by having a very strict diet, having a strict plan, a strict workout routine, and following that for a week. You'll feel better. It'll be better, right? I still think the 1 meal a day is great. I'd encourage you to move it up to the evening, but do that instead of trying to do something that is super, super extreme, right? I talk about this a lot of times. I think I've done a video where I talked about the idea of it's way more effective to like run, a few miles, like say 5 miles every day, than to run one marathon, all out as hard as you can, and then and then never run again for the rest of the year, right? So it's more important to be consistent than to try and do some Herculean effort one time and hope that that's going to get you the results, because it's not. You do this 30-day water fast, you make it through this, and then you're going to be binge eating. Like, you're not going to be developing the discipline. Like, it's most likely that you're going to fall off the wagon if you rely on Herculean efforts as opposed to consistent, committed efforts that you do every day, that you plan out. All right, that's all I got for you today. If you have a question for me, you can always email me at john@simpleprogrammer.com. And if you like this video, make sure you click the subscribe button below. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.